Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new course, which is teaching you everything you need to know about TikTok and Instagram Reels. I'm Muriel Foley, and I am the owner and director at MGFD, which is a digital marketing agency based here in Cork, in Ireland. So I'm going to be taking you through everything you need to know for the next 4 weeks. So you should have the syllabus by now, but I will be talking you through what I will be covering in each module at the start of every session. So this should be roughly about an hour, and I would recommend that you take your time, you take your notes, but that you also listen to the practical elements of this too. So there will be a mixture within this course of theory, but also some practical learning. So there will be sections where I will be asking you to take out your phone, to open the app, and to explore certain features along with me, because I do believe that it's better to learn by doing. So I'm going to get stuck in. And as I said, feel free to take some notes, and there will be some repetition for a reason. And those are the things that I really want you to listen to write down. And if you are a business owner, maybe you're an influencer, or maybe you're just intrigued as to how Instagram Reels and TikTok work, I would suggest that there will be certain things that I will say that you can apply to your business, to your own content, because really what it is taking the learnings and applying them and making them relatable for your business. That's exactly how all of this works. So I'm going to start sharing my screen, and hopefully you can all see me now. And I'm just going to start and we'll get stuck in. Okay, so the first module today, we're going to be looking at understanding the growth and power of Instagram Reels and TikTok. So I'm going to be introducing you to both platforms and giving you a little bit more confidence. That's the whole point of this course, is to give you confidence in creating content and to even use these platforms to help you to grow your business. At the end of the day, that's everyone's overall goal. So as you can see, just a little brief introduction into myself. So as I said, I'm the managing director at MGFD, which is my company here in Cork in Ireland. And here are some of the brands that I've worked with over the last 10 plus years. So I have been working in this industry for a long time. And you can see that some of these are national, some are international, and some are SMBs. So I'm really looking forward to taking you through this course over the next 4 weeks. And I really do hope that at the end of it, you just feel that confidence, because I think that when new platforms come along, and look, if you have been in digital marketing or using some form of digital marketing or social media in the last 5, 6, 7, 10 years, you'll know that there's always something new to learn, and nobody's an expert. So don't ever feel intimidated by that either, but there is always something new. So TikTok came along and it really did disrupt the social media landscape. And what I want today is just for you to understand that that will always continue to happen. There will always be something new that comes along that shakes it all up, and we all just have to adjust and learn and apply it to our business as well. So the agenda for today. So in module 1, I'm going to cover an introduction into TikTok and Instagram Reels. So I want to build this platform for you where you have this foundation of understanding of why TikTok really did perform so well, became so popular, and the effect that that had then on Instagram to create Reels. I'll talk about what they are and what type of content is used on them. And I'll also be going through some user behavior. I'm going to talk about the growth of TikTok as well, because this is a huge app that kind of came out of left field in a way. And it grew so quickly compared to every other app. In 4 years, it grew as quickly as Facebook and Instagram did. It took Facebook and Instagram over a decade to grow as quickly as TikTok did. So it's very, very popular, and it's going to be sticking around. So I think that's what happens when a new app comes along. We go, okay, this is new. Is it going to last? We don't know. Should we learn about it? I'm not sure. But this is one that I'm really glad that you're taking this course, because you understand that it is not going anywhere and you need to understand how it works and apply it to your business. I'm also going to talk about the power of each platform and how they've disrupted the user experience. So this disruption that I'm talking about, it's not always a bad thing. Disruption in social media is generally a good thing. And it's what every business does. It's what every content creator does. They disrupt the user experience. Every piece of content disrupts anything that user is looking at or watching. So this kind of disruption in the landscape is also affecting the user experience, which leads me to my final point. The effect that this has and will continue to have on the reach and engagement of your post. So if you're not sure what reach is all of the people that you reach with your content. So that number that you're given as a metric is people. So you'll see that when a new platform comes along, so let's just take TikTok as this example. When a new platform comes along, they're going to take a form, or they're going to take a share of the users that would normally be on, we'll say, Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat. And TikTok is taking a portion of those users and taking their daily active usage of social media over to their platform. When that happens, you're going to see that your reach will drop, because if you're only using Facebook or if you're only using Instagram and everybody is using TikTok, naturally there'll be a lower reach on your posts on Facebook and Instagram, because a lot of your audience has shifted to TikTok. It's not that they're not using the platforms anymore, but they're just using them less. So that's why it is important to make sure that you're on the platforms where they are. You have to show up where your users are. And the same goes with engagement. And I'll show you a couple of graphs as well today to show you the engagement rate that TikTok can get versus other platforms too. So that's what we'll be going through today. So not super heavy, but at the same time, I really want you to pay attention to how it started and then how that is disrupting the user experience, but also how it's changing user behaviors when it comes to content. So as I said here, it all started with TikTok, because essentially Instagram Reels were born out of TikTok, right? We all know that Instagram is looking at other platforms all of the time. So when the likes of TikTok comes along, then it becomes popular. Instagram then reacts and creates Instagram Reels. So that's why it all starts with TikTok. So if you can understand these, what makes it unique and its unique selling points, then it's going to help you understand Instagram Reels, because that's who they're looking at. So these are some things that come out of TikTok, and these are new kind of emerging items in terms of content and user behavior that we need to understand. So short form video content. Sometimes short form can even come in the form of 2-second or 3-second long pieces of video. And yes, you can make an impression in that amount of time, but this short form video content is not going anywhere. And you have to be super creative in that small space of time. Audio driven in most cases. So what this means is that instead of you maybe speaking to camera, which you can still do in these types of videos, a lot of these come from a piece of audio, a piece of music, something that's trending, and then it becomes a sound that everybody uses, or it becomes known as, oh, this is the trend, this is the sound. And sometimes if something is trending, it's better to get on it and to start using it if it makes sense for your business. If that makes no sense to you, don't worry. I will be explaining that in a lot more detail. But audio drives a lot of these pieces of content. You also have the vertical full screen scroll. So what this means is, yes, we always scroll vertically. However, a lot of the content that we're used to scrolling on, you'd be maybe looking at a minimum of 1.5 pieces of content when you're scrolling on your phone, especially if you're on Facebook and if you're on Instagram. There will be a lot of content that won't take up the full screen. However, with TikTok and with Instagram Reels, when you're on those platforms, that one piece of content takes up the entire screen. So when you're scrolling through entire pieces of content. So it's just interesting to understand that as well, that when people are consuming your content, they're actually seeing it in their entirety. So you have the floor. And also clear and concise messaging. So if you're looking at creating shorter, smaller videos, you need to be clear, you need to be concise, you have to get to the point early. Otherwise, you're going to lose your audience. So those are the kind of main basis of what sets everything apart in terms of TikTok and Instagram Reels. There's a lot more to come, but just so you know that these will be the kind of biggest disruptors. So I'm not going to go through all of this, but I found it interesting that it's good to look at things like what's popular, how quickly TikTok has grown and compare it year over year. So if you look at the most popular domains in late 2020, so you can see here that Google was number one. So these are the top domains that are typed into a browser. So Google is number one, Facebook is number two, and so on. TikTok here is number 7, and Instagram is number 9. Now, if we look at the top 10 in late 2021, TikTok.com is number 1. Now, Instagram isn't on this list, but you can watch TikTok videos without having to log in. Now, I think it might have changed in a lot of countries where you are prompted to log in, but a lot of the time, similar to YouTube, you can watch content without having to log in. So TikTok's user interface on a computer screen is actually quite user-friendly as well. But a lot of people use mobile only when they're using Instagram. But that being said, you can still see in a year how quickly TikTok has grown, and also that it overtook google.com. And how many times do we Google things a day? So that will just show you in just a year how user behavior has changed and what they really look for. So whenever I look at any platform, and in order to understand it, they can change everything about a platform, but they will never change their mission statement. So TikTok's mission statement is, our mission is to inspire creativity and bring joy. So that is their entire mission statement. They want you to create. They want everybody to be a creator. And they also want people to feel happy, and they want people to feel joy. Now, if you are using TikTok yourself, you'll understand this statement. If you're not, and you know other people who use TikTok who are saying to you, oh my God, you need to use TikTok. You need to start using it. It's great. Da, 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 da. I'm addicted to TikTok. That's so common because it is that platform that is absolutely about entertainment and bringing people joy. And that is their mission statement. So no matter what happens with their algorithms, with everything like that, they will never stray from their mission statement. So where did this mentality come from? How did this come about? So it is this kind of TikTok mentality, as I like to call it. So back years ago, there was an app called Vine, and Vine was a very, very popular social media application where you had 6 seconds to create content with very little effects, transitions, and any tools that would really enhance video production. So creators had to be very smart when they were creating videos for this platform. And it worked out. People became extremely creative with only a short window of time and very limited tools to help them. So unfortunately, Vine didn't last. They didn't monetize their app enough, like the likes of, we'll say, TikTok's doing now and Facebook and Instagram are doing. They didn't monetize as fast as they should have. So a lot of their users were still very, very active, but they just weren't getting any return from ads or from businesses. So unfortunately, they didn't last. So people from Vine were kind of looking to, what should we do next? So there was an app called Musical.ly that people flocked to because it was similar enough to Vine, and it allowed creators to still create these short form videos. However, they were more vertical. And then TikTok took over Musical.ly, and now it's TikTok. So if you created a Musical.ly account when you left Vine, and if you join TikTok with the same details, it's going to have your account ready to go. So they did not get rid of any of those users from Musical.ly. So your account is more than likely still active. But this mentality of TikTok pretty much started with that Vine structure of short form content, limited capabilities in terms of production, but still very, very entertaining and relatable content for the end user, hence its popularity. So that's why TikTok is so popular today as well, because it understood the assignment. So let's talk a bit more about the growth of TikTok and why we should not ignore it and why we should embrace it. So TikTok has actually been downloaded 3 billion times. It was the most downloaded non-game app in the first 6 months of 2021, hitting 383 million installs from January to June 2021 alone. Now, we are still in a pandemic. So user behavior has changed anyway on social media and on digital platforms. There's a higher volume of people who are active, and there's also a high volume of businesses who are now completely dependent on users online and on digital marketing. So you can see that this increase in users and downloads is also in line with the fact that we are going through a pandemic and people are spending a lot more time online. So it's not a bad time for TikTok to have become more popular. So the average time spent on TikTok per day is 52 minutes worldwide. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of people who would say they spend a lot more time than that every day. But on an average time spent for all of the users to have 52 minutes per day, that's pretty high. And the average person will open the TikTok app 8 times a day. So it is an app that people will continuously go back to and spend a lot of time on. So this kind of addictive mentality that people have with TikTok, it's just this continuous scrolling. So that's why it is good for you to be present there, because people are there and they're not leaving. So I'm going to be showing you another few statistics now over the next few slides. So you can see that the monthly active user base is continuing to grow. So you can see that it is just this huge spike. And you know that from kind of 2018, even 2020, 2021, you have this big high volume of people who have downloaded and used the app on a monthly basis. So it has hit over the 1 billion mark. And you can see in terms of social apps on the right-hand side that it is on par with all of those apps. So you have WhatsApp, you have WeChat, Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, and YouTube as well. So it's right up there. Now, I will be talking a lot more about the behaviors of TikTok users when I'm going into the TikTok specific section in another module. But it is interesting to look at what actually do people engage with and what is the behavior of TikTok users as well. So you'll see there's actually quite a high volume of people who will say that they've watched someone else's video, they've liked someone else's video, they've followed somebody else. Some people log in without doing anything, they just scroll, that's fine too. They uploaded a video, they commented on someone else's video, they shared someone else's video on another social network. They uploaded a duet video or uploaded a react video. Now, if you don't know what that means, that's fine. I will be going through what they mean, those last two, duet and react. But it is interesting to see that people are a lot more highly engaged on this platform versus other platforms as well. And then you have the content categories. Now, I'll be going through these again in terms of what categories work best if you're trying to find a category for your own business as well. But it is interesting to see that entertainment is right up there, and that aligns very, very well with TikTok's mission statement that I covered at the beginning. It is very much about entertainment. And this doesn't mean that you have to make people laugh. This could just mean that you're creating relatable content and authentic content for your audience, but you're keeping them engaged with that kind of entertainment side of things. So it's not a very, very, very serious app. However, there are people who do very well creating some serious content, creating advice, tips, everything for more serious topics as well. So don't ever feel like, oh, there's no space for me on this app. There absolutely is. But you can see there the kind of the top categories from top to bottom, but still very high volume of users who engage with this type of content. So this engagement rate that I was talking about, so this is based on influencer profiles. So they analyzed over 100,000 influencer profiles, and this was just in 2019. So you can tell that there is that increase even still. So out of, we'll say, the Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter applications, you can see that TikTok has a huge volume in terms of engagement rate. So it's interesting to see that there's a higher engagement rate for people with less followers. So this means that you could create content on TikTok with very few followers and actually get a very high engagement rate, because the opportunity for that virality is much higher on that platform, honestly, versus every other platform. But Instagram Reels is watching TikTok. So there is that kind of opportunity for virality on that platform too. But TikTok is just kind of taking the reins in terms of engagement rates. So that should help to sway you if you're kind of on the fence in terms of, should I create content for TikTok? Absolutely. So Reels, Instagram Reels, they're not unlike TikTok. So when I'm talking about best practices for TikTok in terms of the mentality, in terms of user behavior, in terms of understanding engagement of audiences, it's pretty similar when you look at Instagram Reels. So Reels launched in Q3 of 2020, and this was a direct response to the complete rise in popularity of TikTok. So TikTok really, really shone in 2020, honestly, when the pandemic hit, but it just continued to grow and grow and grow. And Instagram looks at it and it's jumping on that. So it launched Reels in Q3 of 2020. So it is this new part of Instagram. It's not a separate app. It's within the Instagram app. It's just on its own tab. And there is content integrated within the Instagram feed as well. But this short form video content, it is showcasing this relatable, timely, raw, real, and engaging side of content creation. So you'll see that the more that we go through these modules, you'll see that there's a lot more relatability within this type of video creation. People don't overthink their reels or their TikToks like they would for a normal Instagram post, which is interesting because you get a much higher volume of people watching your reels and your TikToks, but they become easier to create because they're a lot more natural. Maybe they're a lot more entertaining. Some people are a lot more comfortable creating reels than posing for a picture. So when you get into this content creation mode, once you hit a rhythm, you'll actually find yourself enjoying them, coming up with content ideas, and you're able to create them much faster than maybe a caption for an image post or so on. But everyone is a creator. And this is the difference between, we'll say, the likes of Instagram Reels and Instagram normal feed, where everyone can create this content. And that's what you want. So the algorithm. Reels are pushed to all Instagram users, not just those who follow you. So this is in terms of virality that I was talking about on TikTok. Instagram Reels gives you this opportunity as well. So this guy here, Adam Mosseri, if you're not following him on Instagram, I would highly recommend following him on Instagram. So he's the CEO of Instagram and his handle is Mosseri. And the reason why I'm suggesting that you follow him is that he is always talking about updates and he's always answering questions that business owners, small business owners, and content creators might have as well on the platform. So you'll always be up to date if you follow him. And he even admitted himself that they are looking at TikTok. They are looking at TikTok for inspiration. And they're saying, we're not quite TikTok yet, or we're not quite there yet. We still have a lot to go. And you can see, he says, we're still far behind them. And it's true. Instagram Reels, in terms of usability, in terms of content creation, it is slightly behind TikTok, but it's getting there. And it always does. So if you even look at the likes of Snapchat, Instagram stories were born out of Snapchat. And they took a lot of users from Snapchat to Instagram stories and they never returned. So it does take some time. So that's why it is a bit more of a slow burner. But I feel like Instagram always tends to come out top. So it's good to understand both and create content for both as well. But it's interesting to see that even the head of Instagram is saying, yes, we are watching TikTok. And we're not quite there yet, but we will get there. So the algorithm, as I was saying, the algorithm is how content is generated and how it's shown to you as a user. So your algorithm might be different to somebody else's algorithm. And Instagram will always choose, and it can always change. And it's the same with social media platforms. It can always change how it shows you content. And it does this by changing the interface. If you've had Instagram for a long time, you'll know that the Instagram interface has changed so much in terms of where we press the buttons, how we find our content, and all of the additional tabs that are there now. But similar to TikTok, it will never stray from its mission. And its mission is always to create visual first content and creating positive experiences for the end user. So remember, the end user, not the businesses. And I think sometimes as business owners or as content creators, we can get caught up in this frame of mind of, I'm not getting as much engagement, or that post didn't do very well, or, how come this is performing better than the other? And it's because Instagram is created for users. It's created for the people who download the app and use it every day and scroll through the content. When people log into their phones or their devices, they're not there to see, what businesses are up to. They're not going, oh, I wonder what this business is up to today. Your content is disrupting their experience. However, it's relatable and it can still disrupt in a positive way. If you can create that positive experience for the end user, you're on track with Instagram's mission statement, and therefore your content will perform better. So favorable content for the end user will always go further. And as I was saying, Instagram will always continue to adapt to everybody's behaviors. So it has seen that people have moved to TikTok. It has seen a drop in user engagement. So it needed to do something. That's what it did with Snapchat. It created stories. Now with TikTok, it has created reels. And what's next? We'll see. So let's have a chat about short form content. So if you're not used to creating short form content, or if you struggle to create it, I'm a talker. As you can tell, I've probably been talking for maybe the bones of half an hour now. And sometimes it's hard to condense what you want to say into a short video, into taking 60 seconds, turning it into 20 seconds. It's tough, right? I get it. But once you get into that flow, it'll become easier. It's like when Twitter became a thing and now we had to create tweets, and then we were limited. It was stressful, but then we got used to it. And now we know how to tweet, and now we know how to create tweets that are still meaningful and provide value in such a short amount of sentences and words. So short form content, how did it come about? Why is it here? And the reason why it's not going anywhere. So everybody's attention spans are always getting shorter. And this is because we have so much more distractions. Technology is the biggest downfall in terms of distractions, but we're able to still function. We're able to multitask. A lot of the time, if you're watching television, if you're streaming Netflix, you're more than likely on your phone at the same time. You can, if you're maybe walking down the street, taking a stroll, you could be scrolling through your phone. I mean, I wouldn't advise it, look up from the phone, but it happens. A lot of people do multitask. So this kind of distraction around us creates shorter and shorter attention spans, which then leads to roughly an average scroll of 1.7 seconds. So when we're scrolling through content, you have 1.7 seconds to make an impression, or people are going to continue to scroll. The way that I would describe that, if you had to compare it, would be if you were driving down a road and there was all of these billboards on the road, and there were so many of them, and you were driving quite quickly, you're not really going to get enough time to see all of the content on them, but you might get something that will catch your eye. You might see an image on one, or you might see a big word on the other, and those things will resonate with you. So you have to think of that when you're looking at social media content creation, that are you making that impression in the first 1.7 seconds? Are you grabbing their attention? Are you making that good first impression? So there's us scrolling away. So according to a report done in 2021, so this type of content, the short form content, the reasons why consumers seek out this content include learning how to do something, to consume content on niche topics, and to watch content not on traditional TV. So this is a good one to kind of understand why people love this content so much. So this kind of not on traditional TV, wanting to watch this content on niche topics. So niche is going to be an important word to remember as well, because people have different interests and they have different niches that they want to watch more content around that. In certain topics they want to see all of the time. and they don't want to have to continuously, watch content that's not suitable for them. So that's why traditional TV sometimes is not attractive to these types of consumers, because they only want to see content that they want to watch. Even in terms of advertising, they want their ads tailored to them. They want the content tailored to them. So that's why traditional TV sometimes is just not catered to them. And they also like to learn how to do something. So people go on TikTok and even Instagram Reels to see, can they learn something new? And a lot of people have said that, since they've downloaded TikTok, they've learned a lot. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about politics, doesn't have to be about religion. These can be everyday tips and tricks to help you live better, to have some home hacks around the house. So there's loads of different content out there that people like to consume in terms of them learning something new every day on that niche topic that I was talking about. So remember niche, because that's going to be very important, especially when we get to the TikTok module. So content is more authentic. People like to watch content that they feel is a lot more raw and real from either the business owner or the content creator. So when you create content, people like you to be authentic. They don't like you to put up a front or to appear false. They just want you to be you. And that's why this kind of more raw content, which is maybe less highly produced, maybe it's just something that you're taking on your phone as you're walking, or something that's just a lot more authentic, is more appealing to the end user. Content is relatable. So if you can think about your audience, and we'll be going through this in a lot more detail in the next few modules, but if you think about your audience, what is their day-to-day life like? What content are you creating that is appealing to them, but that's relatable to them? So if your demographic, can afford a certain lifestyle, then I wouldn't be showing them content that's above their pay grade or that's just not suitable for them. You need to think about what's their life like. What can they relate to? How can I be more appealing to them on a human level, as opposed to just talking about how great my business is or just trying to sell something to them? I need to now create content that they can relate to. And as I said before, everyone is a creator. So you'll find even on TikTok that there's a lot more just everyday people creating content on this platform versus any other platform. So you're not just competing with other businesses or content creators, you're also competing with everyone. But because everyone is a creator, there's space for everyone too. So creators are also users. Users are also watchers. Watchers are also consumers. Consumers are also buyers. So thinking about it that way as well. So you don't just create, you watch, you consume. So the whole thing here is you need to connect with your consumer on a level that they can respond emotionally to, and the rest will fall into place. So you need to have this emotional connection with the end user and with that consumer. So if you make somebody feel a certain way, then you become a lot more memorable. So if you think about the types of content that you can remember right now that you watched, or anything, if I was to say, okay, tell me quickly about the latest piece of content that you liked on Instagram or on TikTok. Tell me about the latest video that you watched. You'll more than likely tell me something that made you laugh or made you cry, maybe made you angry, maybe scared you, and it could have made you sentimental as well. There's loads of different emotions that you can prompt in the end user, and all of that will make your content more memorable as well. So try to, again, think of that when you're creating your content. Can we create this emotional connection with our consumer? So the reason why I have this slide is because when I started to talk about TikTok a couple of years back to my clients, they were saying, but I don't want to dance on screen. I'm too old for TikTok. I don't want to just point at letters. It's really cringy. It's not for me at all. I'm not going to use it. It's not just about that, honestly, but it's the way that TikTok creates these ads around joining TikTok. And even when you look at TikTok's branding, you're kind of going, oh, I don't know if that's really suitable for my business. I don't really want to be like dancing around. I don't want to be even doing voiceovers. There will always be a comfort level that you'll reach with TikTok, and with Instagram Reels, that's fine. But it's not just about dancing and pointing to letters at all. You don't have to do that whatsoever. It gives you opportunities. So don't look at these kind of, false advertising, or it's just people dancing. It's really not, especially if you're not using TikTok. That could be a mentality that you have because that's all you're exposed to. But if you really look internally at these apps and you start creating content, or you just even start consuming content in your niche, then you'll see there's a lot more to it. So it gives you the opportunity to reach new audiences, to build your brand persona. So it gives you a little bit more freedom to create content that maybe Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn can't. And then it also allows you to elevate your content. So you might need, this video content. You might need to have a series of content. You might just want to have this opportunity to elevate what you've already created, but make it a lot more relatable to the end user as well. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about the unique parts now of TikTok, because remember, what we learn about TikTok, we can apply it to Instagram Reels. Whether or not Instagram Reels will have, taken all of these aspects yet, they're watching. So it's important to understand what makes TikTok unique, because this is what Instagram Reels is going to continue to learn from. The main thing that sets TikTok apart is called the FYP, or the For You page. So this is actually TikTok's homepage. So when you open the app, it's open on this interface called For You. So you actually have a separate tab then to select for the accounts that you're following. So you're constantly being shown new content all of the time, right? So it's where you can discover relevant content, but it's also where you can be discovered. So if you've seen FYP, or even if you kind of dabbled in content on TikTok and you're seeing people write FYP on your content, it means you've appeared in their For You page. And some people just like to write that just to let you know you've appeared on their For You page. And it basically means that your content is going slightly viral. And it means that you're reaching people outside of who is just following you as well. So there's a lot more of that to come. So if you think about it, this entire app is constantly learning. Because it is always showing people new content, it's learning user behavior as well. So this algorithm is tailoring content to every single person on the app. So much so that like I said before, could be sitting here with a twin sister who likes all the same things I do, but we might have, specific things that we watch differently online, or I might like more content to do with puppies and she might like more content to do with skiing. So our For You pages, our home pages, are going to look very different to one another. And that's what TikTok does to set itself apart. It loves tailoring that content to what you interact with, shows you more of what you like and less of what you don't. And you don't necessarily have to be engaging for it to understand that. It learns it from the length of time you spend watching specific pieces of content. So if you're watching a video that's maybe 20 seconds, but it's relating to a topic that you love, or you really love the video, you rewatch it again, that's telling TikTok, this person likes this type of content. We need to show more of it. If you start watching a video and straight away you're swiping away from it, no, less of that. And this happens when you download the app. So if you don't have the app downloaded yet and you download it for the first time, your first maybe day or two using TikTok, you're going to go, oh God, this isn't great. But just let it learn. It's going to show you such a mixture of content because it needs to get to know you. And then as the more that you use it, the more you consume content, the more you scroll away from things you don't want to see, it shows you less of that. So it's very, very, sometimes it can be scarily accurate in terms of what you like. That lends to people becoming addicted to consistently scrolling because it's content that they love consistently. So this mentality, so this is kind of the reason why you could have an account and have very little followers, but you could have a very high reach and engagement on your content because audiences are constantly in discovery mode. It's a different mentality to Instagram where there will be scrolling through, we'll say, the normal feed on Instagram. And they're being shown content from creators that they follow. So it could be their friends, their family, influencers, businesses, but it's content that they know they're going to see because they follow these accounts. They're less likely to be in discovery mode on the feed. Whereas on TikTok, they're constantly shown content that, you know, they're in that kind of For You page, and they're constantly discovering new content and new creators all of the time. So you can capitalize on that by just creating content and embracing that platform. So we'll get you to start thinking now about content creation. So I will be going a little bit more in depth in this when we're going through the platforms themselves, and I'll be giving you some additional content creation tips. But we'll start having a look at just overall a broad view of what content creation will look like. So if you've been working in marketing for a long time, maybe you're a business owner for a long time as well, you are used to, you know, you're probably watching this on your laptop or on your computer, on your desktop. So this is the way that we live, right? We live horizontally. And everything in the last few years in terms of content creation, and especially social media, has been vertical first. It's been portrait content. It's been full screen. It hasn't necessarily been landscape. So we need to remember that. So when you're creating content, yes, sometimes, you know, you prefer to have something that looks nicer on your bigger screen, but you need to remember that your end user is accessing your content with their mobile. So you need to think always mobile first, and you need to create for the small screen. So you need to remember things like your text, if you have overlays, if you have call to action, that they're not too small or they're not getting cut off. So this means that you need to have clear and concise messaging. And you also need that eye-catching content to stop those thumbs. We've seen how quickly that everybody scrolls now, and we also know how short everybody's attention span is. So for the end user, good short form content. So we're looking at short form content here. It grabs the attention. It keeps the attention. So you need to attract, and then you need to retain. So you could have, we don't want to be like clickbait, where we say, watch to the end, and then nothing happens at the end. Maybe something does happen at the end. So that's the retention. But you need to grab the attention at the start. Your content needs to tell a story. So if you do have maybe a story time, or maybe you are creating a longer video, and I mean longer now as in 30 seconds as opposed to 5 or 10, you need to kind of keep their attention. So are you telling a story, and what story are you telling? And also adds value. So that's why I have 5 tips there, right? Because sometimes these pieces of content work where you go 5 tips for doing this, this, and this. And then you're going to stick around. It's a similar way of, if you're looking at an article or you're reading a blog, you more than likely will watch or you'll read something that's like 5 ways of, or top 10 countries to visit this summer. You'll more than likely just go to that article and skim through them because you're curious, versus a blog or an article that's all paragraphs and they're kind of featured throughout it. You like that kind of list mentality. That's the same kind of mentality that people have with short form content. They can kind of watch it and skim through. Now, bad short form content, there's a lot of it. There is a lot of it. So if it's overly branded, you don't want to have your logo everywhere on your content. You kind of want it to look a little bit more authentic. So you don't want to have it looking like an ad or looking way too branded. Something that's boring, or that takes, same with the next one, that takes too long to get going. You kind of have an audience here that's impatient. But once you have them, you have them. But they will, like if they're seeing your content for the first time and it's just not engaging with them, it's taking too long to get going, then you're going to lose them. If it's poorly edited, so you don't necessarily have to record your content on an extremely expensive camera. No way. You can record it on your phone. But also if it's very bad editing, I mean, you also don't want to go viral for the wrong reasons on that one. Things that don't match the voiceover. So if you have seen some voiceover content where it might be a scene from Friends and it's a person and they're mouthing along to the sound from Friends, but it doesn't match it, or it's too late or it's too early, again, that's deemed as bad content. And anything that's salesy, people don't like to be sold to, especially on these platforms. So try not to end with, why not do this? Or if you like this, then why not come on down? And no, just try to sell without selling. So build your brand without selling your product, if that makes sense. And then for you, right? Because you need to think obviously about the end user, but you don't want to just be creating content that, oh, everybody's enjoying, but am I actually getting anything out of it? So you need to satisfy your upper funnel goals here. Now, you can make sales from it, but this is what I mean. Focus on upper funnel, which means brand building and brand persona when you're creating your content, as opposed to, I need to sell 20 pairs of shoes with this piece of content. You might be wearing the shoes, you might be in your shop, you might have your brand name there, and that's enough, because you can create content that's authentic, that's raw, that's real, that's relatable and engaging for your end user, and end up making sales without having to sell to them. But you need to satisfy that upper funnel. You can reach new audiences, which is always great for you, especially if you are a brand that ships worldwide or that has a worldwide audience and you go viral, you can reach new potential customers here as well. That's sparking that engagement for you too, that you may not have seen on other platforms. And that reaches the right people at the right moment. So this is the type of content that if you get it right and you hit people at the right moment with the perfect content, you can really build a great customer base for yourself. You need to showcase who you are as well. So you need to be authentically you as a brand on this platform, and don't overthink it. So remember, the shift in behavior means that your current content may not be performing as well as previous months or years. So this is what I was saying earlier about how it can change user behavior, but also how it can change the content and the output and the metrics and the results that you get on your content. So if you are noticing a shift, and maybe you are, and maybe that's why you're taking this course, is because you're noticing the content that you're currently creating on your platforms is just not getting the reach that it used to. It's just not getting the engagement that it used to. So you need to start embracing these new platforms so you can maintain and grow your reach and your engagement as well. So before we finish up, I just want you to start thinking about creating this video. Where can you start? How can you start? So just getting into that mentality now. So I want you to ask yourself, what is the objective? Why am I creating this content? Why am I on this platform? Who is my target audience? Because you can find them, especially with TikTok. And remember, if you learn it on TikTok, it's going to happen on Instagram. So who is your target audience? What do they like? What are their behaviors? Maybe you have created personas for your business in the past, and now you can apply them to this space. What metrics will you use to measure success? So I would really look at your upper funnel metrics here, your reach, maybe your engagement, your video views, as opposed to your secondary ones, which would be more middle of funnel, like website traffic, leads, followers. You want to really look at upper funnel here when you're creating this type of content, and let the rest fall into place. Where or how will the videos be shot? So a lot of people do kind of batch content where they'll create multiple videos in a day, and they'll just change outfits, they'll change backgrounds. So you kind of need to plan ahead in terms of these content. And the main thing is, what story will you tell? So just even starting to think about this and start asking yourself these questions. And if you need some content prompts, and again, don't worry too much about creating content now. I just want you to start thinking. So maybe you can start thinking about a how-to or an explainer video if you have a service or a product that require some of that. Showing new products or promoting new services, a get to know me and meet the team. People love those. Showcasing your website as well. So you can do something like screen recording. You can have a green screen. Again, I'll explain all of these as we're going through this course, where you have it behind you when you're talking about it yourself, letting people get to know you. So it doesn't necessarily have to be always about your expertise. This could just be something about a day in the life. So you can see that at the end. If you have like clothing, or if you enjoy, doing some shopping, or maybe you're sourcing materials, showing people the kind of behind the scenes here as well. If you are a makeup artist, then you can have makeup videos, or even if you're in DIY, you can show a start to finish. People love to watch transitions. So you can have a transition where it's like start is, it looks like this, and then you show the end part, or you can show a time lapse or a reveal of here's the process that we went through, and you watch to the end to see the final result. Or if you are a small business as well, where you can show a packaging video when people make an order, people like to see that because it's you showing your face with your product on camera, and people like to support small businesses. But on the right here, you can see it's the elevator pitch of the elevator pitch. So if people say, you know, what do you do for a living? Or tell me about your business. And you can go on and on, but then you have to create an elevator pitch for this if you're maybe at a networking event, or if you have to quickly describe your business. Now I want you to think, what's the elevator pitch of that? And that will help you then to create that content. So if you're looking for some useful resources, for TikTok, there is tiktok.com/business. So it's TikTok for business. There's loads of resources in there. Now I will be going through all of these, but it's just if you need some additional reading material before the next module. You can also look at the business.instagram.com as well there's so many resources in there. There's creators. If you're on Instagram yourself, follow the creators platform on Instagram. They showcase loads of videos and just really quick tips as well for you. But these are just resources that you can have in your back pocket the whole time throughout the course as well. So start scrolling today. So I want you, if you haven't downloaded TikTok yet and you're not using Instagram Reels or scrolling through them, just start scrolling. I will give you much more homework to do in the next few modules. But for today, I just want you to, from what you know now and what you should be looking out for, start scrolling now as if you are an end user of like you are your customer. Be in their mentality, watch the content, and then slowly see how it's starting to become a lot more tailored to you and how the algorithm will be changing for you as well. So on that note, I'm going to let you go, and I will be back next week with module 2. And we'll be diving a lot more deeper into the platforms. But I just wanted to give you that foundation today of what it's like to create this content, or what it's like as the end user on Instagram Reels and on TikTok, and really just how powerful they are. So I will see you next week, and have fun scrolling.